Hello and welcome to another Talk Coventry City video. Today I'm going to be reviewing and ranking the Coventry City players of the 2019-20 season. Okay, so how this video is going to work is I've got all these players at the bottom, 21 players from this season, and I'm going to have to fit them somewhere on this list. It starts at the top with Player of the Season. We then have A, B, C and Epic Fail. So without further ado, let's go. We're kicking off this list with Jamie Allen, the midfielder we signed from Burton Albion in the summer, and he was injured before the season even started, so we didn't even get to see him until halfway through the season. But then he did burst onto the scene. He did earn his place in the starting 11. He's been really solid in the middle. He's quite good at getting the ball from the defence to the attack. He's good at breaking up play, and I've been really impressed by him. But like I said, we've only seen him in the second half of the season, so I'm going to put Jamie Allen in B. Next up we have Castaner, and it's going to have to be an Epic Fail. He arrived in the summer and he actually scored in his first game for the club. He came on as a sub and scored a minute later in a home game against Bristol Rovers, but we haven't seen him since the start of the season after he picked up a red card at Portsmouth, where he came on as a sub and we already were down to 10 men and losing. And he picked up a yellow card within 5 minutes and then went in for a ridiculous slide challenge 5 minutes later and was sent off, and we were down to 9. Rumour has it that Castaner is still sliding to this day. Then we have Bakayoko, who comes in for quite a lot of criticism, but I'm going to put him in B. I think some of the criticism he picks up is quite unfair. He's not the best finisher and he's definitely not our best striker. But there was a point in the season where Hiwula and Godden were both injured. So he was our only striker at one point in the season, and he did get a couple of goals. So I think a B is quite fair for Bakayoko. Then we have our backup goalkeeper Ben Wilson, who we signed from Bradford City in the summer. But he's only played a couple of games in the Cup because Marco Morosi's been so solid in goal this season. So I think a C is quite fair. He hasn't really played, so a C grade is fair. Then we have the first choice goalkeeper Marco Morosi, who's played in every single league game this season, and he's going to pick up an A. One of our better players of the season, one of the best goalkeepers I've seen since we had Kieran Westwood in the Championship 9-10 years ago. And he's been really solid. The only thing that worries me with him is he spends a bit too much time with the ball at his feet, but he's made some crucial saves this season, so I'm going to give him an A. Then we have Biamo, a bit like Jamie Allen, didn't play at the start of the season because of an injury. It was an ACL he picked up at the start of last season, but then when he did recover, he came straight into the starting 11 and scored a couple of goals, and I think I'm going to give him a B as well. Next is Brandon Mason, our first choice left back from last season, but our second choice left back from this season. And for that reason I'm going to give him a C, as he's played very little this season because Sam McCallum's gobbled up his position. Then we have Matty Godden, who's going to go straight into A. The only thing stopping this guy from being our player of the season is he didn't get off to the best start to the season. It wasn't until after Christmas that he scored back-to-back hat-tricks and then really hit some form. But up until Christmas he only scored 3 goals. So Godden is going to get an A. Then we have Jordi Hiwula, last season's top goal scorer with 13 goals, but this season he's only picked up 3 goals. He's not been too impressive, and I think he will be released in the summer. He's going to get a C. Then we have a fan's favourite, Fankati Dabo. Right back we signed from Chelsea, I believe. He's been quality this season. He's one of the best right backs I've ever seen at the club. He's rapid, he's strong, and he's been amazing this season. It's an A for Dabo. Then we have Michael Rose, a centre back we signed from Ayr United in the Scottish Championship, I believe. I'm going to put him in A. He's been really solid this season, part of our fantastic 5 at the back. And he's been consistent, hasn't made any mistakes this season, so it's an A for Michael Rose. Same for Dom Hyam, last season's player of the season. Not this season's player of the season, but definitely one of our better players, probably in our top 5 players this season. A bit like Michael Rose, he hasn't made any mistakes and he's been part of that fantastic 5 at the back. Then we have Jody Jones, who's going to have to pick up a C, I'm afraid. He hasn't really played at all this season, so he's lucky to get a C. He's been hit by 2 ACL injuries, which is really, really unlucky. but he hasn't played enough this season to pick up any good grades. Then we have Jordan Shipley. He's going to get a B. I think that's fair for Jordan Shipley. He's had to adjust to a rotation role this season because we've had so many good midfielders that all of them are chopping and changing every week. But he's scored a couple of goals. He's been quite consistent. I think a B is quite fair for Jordan Shipley. Then we have Liam Kelly, who does the dirty side of the game really well in my opinion. He doesn't chip in with too many goals, but I think a B again for Liam Kelly, as he's part of that rotating midfield, and he's been quite good this season. Next we have Kyle McFadzean, another player who comes in for quite a lot of criticism because of the mistakes he's made in some of the games this season. Although he has made a couple of mistakes this season, I'm going to give him a B, because if he didn't have his experience, I don't think we'd be where we are, and he's part of that fantastic five at the back. Next we have Sam McCallum, a youngster who is probably the biggest surprise of the season, burst onto the scene, became our first choice left back, and was signed in the January transfer window by Premier League Norwich City. He scored a couple of goals. He's been really impressive, really good in the air. I think an A is good for Sam McCallum, and as things look, with Norwich set to be relegated and us set to be promoted, we might see him next season. Then we have Wesley Jabello. This is unfortunate, but he's going to have to get a C. Another one of our players hit by an ACL injury. Only 10 games into the season, I think. He'd been quite solid up until then, but I think he's only going to pick up a C. Then we have Zane Westbrook, very similar to Jordan Shipley in my opinion, so he's going to pick up a B, as he's part of that rotating midfield. Another youngster who's getting better every season, but only a B for me. And now we only have two players left, both central midfielders, and one of them is going to be my player of the season, and it's Liam Walsh. So that means Callum O'Hare's only getting an A, which is unfortunate for him because he's been really good this season. He scored quite a few goals, set up quite a few goals, and showed a lot of Premier League quality. So yes, that means Liam Walsh is my player of the season. I don't think too many people can be surprised by that. He's been absolutely quality this season. He goes under the radar in my opinion. He has scored a couple of goals and set a couple of goals up, but it's not all about that. He's been crucial at tackling, getting the ball from A to B, and has all the attributes of a central midfielder in my opinion. And last but not least, Mark Robins. Definitely, in my opinion, the manager of the year for League One. He's turned this club on its head since he's come in, from battling at the bottom end of League One to virtually in the Championship now, and I sometimes think that Mark Robins doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And that completes today's video then. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, Talk Coventry City, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!